Well, Ark here, and today we're going to be talking about some big DK changes and philosophy changes coming into War Within. So far, there hasn't been no news on specific changes, but Blizzard have released a blue post for Death Knights, and we'll be going over that right here, right now. So one of their goals is to reduce the amount of resource flooding for each spec that have varying degrees. Obviously, Frost is probably the worst one when it comes to runic power generation. There's a whole lot of runic power generation. You're overcapping pretty much every pillar. You're runic capping almost all the time. And then same thing with blood. The only thing you can really spend runic power on as blood is Death Strike, at least in the current build. I don't think Unholy has that big of an issue. The only I guess it kind of does with Super Strain. With Super Strain, it kind of just feels like you're constantly pressing Epidemic, opposed to gaining festermight stacks. They're also going to be reducing throughput nodes towards the end of the tree. Something like Gargoyle or Breath of Sindragosa, Piercing Chill, Frostworm's Fury, Obliteration, pretty much the major damage nodes. And also with Unholy, something like Super Strain, or maybe even Defile. Blood suffers from a lack of viable build options because they have to invest heavily into their tree to feel like it functions. To some degree, all Death Knight specs suffer from this a bit more than the other specs due to the unique leveling experience comparatively, which is kind of a stupid thing to say. Who cares about the leveling experience? We want to see where we can shift some of the abilities and talents learned in the spec tree that would make more sense baseline to not only smooth out the build diversity, but also improve the leveling experience. I mean, we don't really care about leveling experience, not as blood at least, but hopefully they do make more things baseline. Some things that should be baseline are probably Morrowind, Rune Tap, Blood Tap should probably be baseline. Blood Tap should definitely be baseline. Dancing or Rune Weapon should be baseline. Gorfiend's Grasp should be baseline. And Frost, mostly what they want to work on is Breath of Sindragosa, because right now people are having like 2-minute breaths. I really don't like breath being longer than 30 seconds, which is what they want to get it down to by turning knobs. They say the main offender is Rune of Hysteria, which I would kind of agree with that. We understand that breath is a very divisive ability. It offers a very unique gameplay experience that not many of our other specs offer, and while there's no plans to remove that, we want to explore a potential alternative that feels fresh and exciting for players that wish to try something a bit different, likely introduced as a new capstone replacing Frostworm's Fury, which we plan to shift higher within the tree as more easily accessible talent. So meaning that they probably would want to, let's go to the Frost tree real quick. Probably want to move this up here somewhere and probably make, I don't know, Pillar of Frost baseline for Frost DK, and maybe these two talents as well, or at least Killing Machine and Rhyme. Because, I mean, regardless of which spec you play for Frost, you're grabbing both Rhyme and Obliteration. So I do like the change that they're going to be making to Frost Breath of Sindragosa. They haven't said any change for Obliteration. Hopefully they make Frost Strike do more damage for Obliteration. I think that's one of the main changes it needs, and another change it needs is Cleaving Strike damage. It's awful. I wish it wasn't target capped at 3 targets. I think that's really boring. Because imagine if Obliteration was able to hit like fucking 7 targets for 400k, then maybe it would be more viable than it currently is. So let me know what kind of changes you want to come to DK. I do like the idea of them changing Frost DK, definitely the Breath build, because that's one of my favorite builds. I didn't like it so much in Dragonflight because, you know, the idea of having a breath for 2 minutes, it just seems ridiculous and hard, not only stressful to manage, but also like in a Mythic Plus setting that sounds awful, especially if it's being tuned to last 2 minutes. I'd much rather it last 30 seconds, right? Or even 20 seconds would be better. If it did a shit ton of damage for 20 seconds instead of doing the same damage over 2 minutes, I think that would be a lot better. And for Unholy, they want to reduce the amount of buttons you press in your opener. I've said this before. I said this in the Asmongold video when he said something about reducing all classes to 10 abilities, that they need to reduce their buttons. They don't want to get rid of Gargoyle, but they want to do some reworking to it. They also want to rework Sudden Doom. And they don't plan on removing Festering Runes, but they also want to make it cause less friction when you're playing Unholy DK by buffing Vile Contagion, which is an ability that no one took during Dragonflight but was added in Dragonflight. To be honest, I don't even know what this ability does because I never even thought of taking it because it was never in any viable build. It just spreads, wounds. Right now it's at a 1 minute and 30 seconds, so it's going to be reduced to 45. That's pretty much half. They also want to change the way festering might stacks. Hopefully, it's going to be something like iron fur, it says. So you don't have a big setup for it, which I can understand, especially if you're doing the single target build. It's really annoying personally. And also reducing the button bloat and the amount of rotational buttons for Unholy is great. And also making Unholy or Blood Decay not feel like complete shit. It's also going to be great in reducing the amount of resource flooding, especially for runic power. Just give us better spinners, really, especially for Frost and Unholy. Make Epidemic do more damage and consume more runic power, and make Glacial Advance a lot bigger and consume more power. That's pretty much a simple change that they could make, but hopefully we'll see. Let me know what you think they should change. Besides that, guys, if you liked the video, do me a favor, give it a like. If you like me, subscribe. Besides that, guys, peace.